Imagine a league built by the people, for the people. A league dedicated to the economic development of your city. So the question becomes, how good are the 32 teams that play in the minor football league? Well, there's only one way to find out. You have to experience the MFL.
I see you, but I can't hear you. What am I doing wrong? Am I live? Can you hear me? I see, but I can't hear, gentlemen. Hello? I still see you, but I can't hear, Doctor. Dr. Richard Myles Sr. Yeah, still can't hear, guys. Speakers here working on my end. I just can't hear you, gentlemen. Do I need to relog back in, guys? Thumbs up if I need to relog back in. Hello, everybody. Dang, I still can't hear you. Let me see if I can get off of my phone.
I'm not hearing you.
Oh, I hear you now.
Oh, there you go.
I can hear you, Mr. Gatewood.
Hey there, Brother Grant.
How you doing?
Doing great. I don't hear Mr. Myles, though.
I can't hear him at all either. Okay, so it's not me.
Myles, we see your mouth moving, but we're not hearing you. I don't know if he know we can't hear him. Let's see.
I sent him a text. I sent him a
Send him a chat.
I sent him a chat. I sent him having issues.
Hmm.
Where you located, Mr. Greenwood?
I'm in Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C.
Okay.
What
What do
about
you do?
yourself?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Oh, my goodness. Man, you're a long way from home. Well, I guess that is your home, huh?
It is. Born in Atlanta, grew up in Seattle, went to college in Oregon, went through the Jets. So I haven't lived at home since I was 17 years old. That's a couple of days ago.
Now, let's see. That's good, man. That's good. I'm
Yeah,
not sure
life.
which. I don't know which one of us the audience can hear, us or Mr. Myles.
We can't hear Mr. Myles, but who knows? So we'll keep the
Okay.
conversation clean.
Yeah, I'm here in the DC area. I've been here for really about 40 years now.
What do you do?
I have an advertising agency. Do full service advertising, marketing, branding, web development, logo, uh, digital advertising, full service,
All
media
that.
buying, and also
All of that stuff. That's
all of
good.
it. And I must say we've been extremely busy in the advent of the COVID and the social unrest. I think it has kind of shaken people up a little bit, and they realize they got to get serious about being in business if they're going to be in business.
Yes. Well, some people are, and some people are in the fetal position.
Yes,
So those that aren't in the fetal position are trying to take advantage. Last weekend we did the Los Angeles Black Business Expo virtual. So we had booths and speakers and breakout sessions, and Les Brown and Dr. George Fraser and Marquise Auden and
yeah,
Byron Nelson were our featured guys, and then we had about 50 speakers in
yeah.
breakout sessions.
You had the heavy hitters there, Mr.
Yeah,
Frazier, and
we're moving, baby. We're trying to keep it rolling. That's Barbie established that in 1989, and through this year we kicked it off and did it virtual. So new paradigm, new dynamic. November 27th, we're doing the Buy Black on Black Friday with the
wow,
Los Angeles Black Business Expo.
wow. So what are
We're
you doing?
trying to pick up a little something, something.
It sounds like no grass is growing under your feet. Sounds.
Not at all. I just left the office of the retired NFL Players Congress. We have in partnership with GH Design, the largest manufacturer of licensed jackets outside of China. So we're downtown LA, 250,000 square foot facility. So
Let
if
me
you
see
see a
what
jacket out there, the odds are we probably made it.
Mr. Myles is calling. Let me see what he. Okay. All right. That was Mr. Myles. He acknowledges that he has some challenges on his audio, and he asks us to carry on.
Well, let's
So
carry on.
carry
So,
on.
so what were you going to feature today? Talk to us.
Well, I'm a business developer by trade, and so we kind of just go through some of the things that are happening in the in the news and some of the things that are happening in the sports world. But I try to push people, Brother Grant. I try to keep people's feet to the fire as far as getting our businesses going. Because what we have, if nothing else, what we've learned in the last few months, and it's hard to believe that we've been under this pandemic since March,
Yes.
is that we have to take responsibility and control of our own destinies.
Always. Preach,
And
brother, preach.
and and particularly, it's particularly precarious in our community because we've been talking about some of the challenges that having a lack of economic foundation causes. It contributes to things like gang violence and teenage pregnancy, drug abuse, some of those ills that we seem to see in our community. And it's not unique to our community, but they do seem to be more pronounced because of a lack of an economic foundation. And we know some of the main characters who have contributed. We know the usual suspects: racism, classism, redlining, voter suppression, uh, no access to funds. So what we try to do, and that's why I have aligned myself with Mr. Myles, is that when we talk about institutions like the MFL, to make sure these players have a raison d'etre, a reason for being other than playing sports. The sports is a means to an end. So when they leave that football field, when they leave that gridiron, they can go to somebody's front office. They can start their own business. They can own their own franchise. And so my job as a business developer is to make sure that the players, the members of our community has the knowledge, and we have the connections, the people, the funding, and so we take that holistic approach. Let's go out here and make sure that people are prepared when they walk out here in this marketplace. And I tell you something, Mr. Grant, there is not a lack of business startups in our community. The problem is there's a lack of successful businesses. And that's been my challenge. Yeah, anybody can go out here and start a business. But if you don't understand marketing, if you don't understand the importance of stakeholders, of building partnerships, relationships, providing good service, understanding the 4 Ps of marketing, the industry life cycles, the left brain, right brain, the consumer adoption process, if you don't have at least a basic understanding of some of those foundationals, then starting a business, heck, I could start 5 businesses before we get off this air. But are they going to succeed? Probably not if I don't understand the basics.
Well,
So that's
again, my new book is Entrepreneurial Guide to Starting Your Business, available at reginaldgrant.com.
That's great.
We talk about all those specific dilemmas and opportunities out there. And this pandemic has created an opportunity for those that understand it. And again, I work with the Retired NFL Players Congress. We are the largest, in partnership with JS Design, manufacturer of licensed jackets outside China. There's a lot of players groups. We're the only one of our caliber. We're the only one that does what we do. So when you buy an NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, NASCAR, NHL jacket, the odds are 60 to 70% that it comes from our factory downtown Los Angeles.
Get out of here.
And we're owned and operated by NFL retired players. Most of us look like us. And that's under direction and leadership of Bob Grant, who played for the Redskins back in '67. One of the first 4 people to integrate sports in the major schools in the South in the early '60s, '63, '64. He was in the trenches when they started the unions and all that. But the Retired NFL Players Congress, which is playerscongress.com, is a for-profit entity. We are capitalists, baby. And we're doing it fairly well. Again, under the leadership of Bob Grant, who went to Wake Forest from South Carolina. Then, again, was drafted and played for the Redskins, second-round pick in 1967. Won Super Bowl V. And has been tremendously successful in business since he left football. So, again, I get to have the opportunity to work with people like that. Last Saturday, we had the Los Angeles Black Business Expo virtual. The first one of our community that is actually doing it like it's going to be done. Conferences are totally different now.
How was the conference in this virtual environment? How was what
we have 400 people.
Excuse me?
400 business professionals.
400.
50 speakers. Les Brown was in the house. Dr. George Fraser, Byron Nelson, Marcus Ogden. So we had an NFL guy and a lot of people that are high caliber doing stuff. And they talked about their journey. They talked about finishing what you start. And they talked about we are people that built for success, that have always had success. You look at Black Wall Street and all those things that historically we've done. And we're just trying to build upon that. And that website is 21labbe.com. 21labbe.com. And tomorrow we'll be announcing that we'll have an event on November 27th. Buy Black on Black Friday with the Los Angeles Black Business Expo. Buy Black on Black Friday. Bam! Don't get any better. We need to take that $1.5 trillion and just circulate it.
Man,
90% of my clients do not look like me, but that's okay. Whenever I can make an impact on somebody in my community, I do that. I have a couple of companies that I only will facilitate that process and do some of the things we need the partnership on between you and I and Richard. The doctor, excuse me. He's a doctor now. He's a big hootie dootie.
That's right.
esportsinstruction.com since 2000. I was early in the tech sector. In 98, I built a gamified esports product, ePlaybook Football Basics 101. I worked for the company that invented Undos, and Microsoft came and bought his son's company and facilitated the process. So I've been around this space. I know that we changed in 180 days that we initially locked down during this pandemic, and opportunities abound. I know people that are making grand theft money. Those that are not in a fetal position and not crawled up and said, "Oh, poor as me," are having success. I'm busier than I have ever been. As one of my associates said on Saturday, "Dog, Reg, you in your zone." Yes, I am in my zone. Technology is the wave of the future. And the future is here. It is here. It is now. September 24th, we do another pitch event, esipitch.com. September 24th, and we'll announce that tomorrow. October 22nd, we have athletes in cannabis. I'm involved in that. And that'll be October 22nd. That's athletes in the cannabis space. Medical cannabis. Cannabis space is like we're in the pre-prohibition era, right? So this is right before prohibition is released again. This is that kind of place. It's the Wild West. And the money is not in owning a cannabis shop. It is in the other elements of medical usage and functions of this space. And all the things involved in that. Transportation, testing, advertising, marketing, everything is going to be in that ecosystem. October 12th, Black Riders on Tour will be having an event. It'll be a virtual event. And then again, November 27th, Buy Black on Black Friday with the Los Angeles Black Business Expo. Again, our website is 21labbe.com. And again, I was in Washington for one of the last, if not the last event. Richard was there at the Watkins Award, which is the premier award for the last 9 years for African-American male high school scholar athletes. So we put over 35 kids into the NFL. We have 20 or 30 active at any one time. We have first round draft picks. They're the first pick, Heisman Trophy winners, Rogue Scholars, a couple of those. And our guys are doing tremendous things, but these are guys that understand that playing professional sports is an opportunity.
Yes.
Right? Yes. It is not a career. It's an opportunity to highlight yourself, position yourself, align yourself, educate yourself, and leverage that into generational wealth. The money that when I played for the Jets in 1978, I made nickels, dimes, and pennies. The guys before me made even less than that. These guys here, the average, the minimum salary is $150. Average guy's gonna make $1.5 million. Average guy only plays 1.5 years. But if you play 1.5 years, and you need 3 years for pension, so most of the guys running around don't even have a pension. Nobody doesn't understand that. So you got 19,000 former NFL guys. Only 7, 8 maybe 9,000 get a pension. The other 10,000 get boo-boo. Unlike the other sports, you play 1 year, you get 1 year pension. You play 2 years, you play 10 years.
Right.
And now the union is so weak that you play a year, you don't get boo-boo. You play 2.5 years, you don't make a 3 or 3.5 year number, you get nothing for the rest of your life.
Mm.
So it's inequitable, but that's how life is. So you can't whine about it. You just have to get up, get on your horse, and go make some stuff happen today. Like you, gentlemen. That's why I love to be around people that are smarter than me. So I'm between you and Richard. He looks like a knucklehead, and I'm all this stuff. He's a genius. He's a visionary.
You sound pretty smart yourself over there. You know, I was listening to you talk about.
Baby, I was just a poor black boy from Greenbrier Project and Grady Hospital in Atlanta, and my parents moved 3,000 miles to Seattle, Washington, and we moved into High Point Project to give me, my brother, and my sister an opportunity for success, and we done okay. So I thank Mom and Dad, Willie and Juanita, for that. I just every day of my life. So again, I'm just appreciative to be here. However, I can add value. Just reach out to me. Of course, ReginaldGrant.com, or just Google me. I own that space, even though there's 50,000, 100,000 Reginald Grants. You Google me, booyah! You see my black shiny bald head.
But you have the .com, right?
Of course.
Oh man. Well, see, I always tell people that's, like I say, operate in the tech space too, particularly in the domain space, is that if you can get that .com, that's the waterfront property of the domain registries. Get the if you can get the .com, it's always going to have value. That's like real estate.
You're on what do they call that? What's that? South Beach.
That's right. That's right. Now,
South Beach.
Now, that doesn't mean if you don't get the .com, that just means you have to work a little harder on your branding.
A lot harder.
Because somebody else is out there have the .com. You gotta make your voice louder than theirs. Because I went out and I got RobertGatewood.com. There's an actor out there called Robert Gatewood. There's a few doctors. There's some pretty heavy folks out there, and I'm sure they pay me a nice little penny to get that name back. But let me tell you, man, there's no amount of money they give me for that .com because that's part of my brand now. So, and let me tell you, there's an old guy down in Texas who's called Robert Gatewood. He ran for governor probably for about the last 20 years. He finally just passed away. I've been trying to get that name from him for the last 15 years. He passed away just to Gatewood.com. And he passed away, and I said, well, I can get it now because his daughter apparently took over the name. Now she won't even sell it. So, I mean, I'm sad the guy died, but I thought there was going to be an opportunity because there's an opportunity under every rock. Behind every downfall, every downside, there is an opportunity. And I think that's what as business owners, many small and startup business owners fail to realize, like this pandemic. If there is misery, if there's hardship, if there's downfall, there is also opportunity. Life is all about balance. Where there's a vacuum, nature abhors a vacuum. Same thing applies to business. And so when I look at, anytime I look at any bad situation, and I'm like, that doesn't mean you're profiteering. You're actually helping. You're providing service. You're assuaging. You're soothing. You're making things better by providing these opportunities, like what you're doing during this pandemic. You're busy as a beaver, but you're providing good service. You're helping people. You're elevating people. All of that is good. Capitalism some people look at capitalism as a bad word. It's unbridled capitalism that's bad. But if you're providing a service that people need and you're satisfying needs and wants, then yes, there's no reason why we can't go out here and make some of this money. Because if you don't become a capitalist in this system, you're going to be consumed by it. I'm sorry, there is no sidelines. You're either in the game or you are a fodder for the game.
So either you playing or you watching. You're a spectator or you're a participant. The choice is yours.
You at the table or you on the menu, one or the other. But there is no sideline.
You're the predator or you're the prey.
I put it so bluntly, but I'm afraid that's the way it is.
But come on, man. I love those things. Lost in Alaska and those shows that people go out and they live hand to mouth and they kill what they eat and they eat what they kill. And that's how America is. But again, with all of our bumps and warts and problems and issues and imperfections, what can a poor black boy from Atlanta, Georgia? There ain't a major city in the United States of America that I have not been to, and 95% of the time, somebody else is dying paid for that. Come on now. I'm just a poor black boy from Atlanta, Georgia. High Point Project in Seattle, Washington. I've had the opportunity to own all kinds of businesses, and I always tell people about the Italian restaurant in Escondido, California once. So my black behind was in the back cooking that lasagna for you. I hated that. That was a hard business, but I owned all kinds of business, tax service.
What was your first business? What was your first business?
I was in college and we had glass pyramid production. So people came to me and said, we want to do a dance. And then it was 3 of us, and then there was 2 of us, and then it was just me. But when I stopped, I was, doing little dances on the University of Oregon campus for 5,000 people. I was eating. But I haven't stopped since.
I harken back to my first business. I was a shoe shine boy. I was 13 years old, and my dad was an entrepreneur. I was one of the fortunate ones. He got a small business loan under the Johnson administration. He was a sharecropper, but then he got a small business loan and started a grocery store. And because he kept the sharecropping business, and so I was only 8, and my older brothers worked the field. I was too small to work the field, so he threw me behind the counter. So I started working in the grocery store at the age of 8 years old, and that entrepreneur bug bit me early, and it has never left.
But you also develop those skills. Business fundamentally is the same. I don't care whether you're selling advertising, you're selling food. Fundamentally, how much does it cost? Expenses? How much revenue do I make? What's my profit? Everything else is niche, and you might need to know specifics of a business, but it fundamentally is all of the same. Again, you can grab my book, Reginald Grant, Entrepreneur, Your Guide to Starting Your Business at reginaldgrant.com. Of course, at Amazon.com. I'm sorry, Mr. Hood. Let me plug in while we continue.
Let's talk about the MFL. Now, Mr. Myles has this organization, the MFL, and we have these players who, as his famous quote is, it's not that they're not good enough, there's just not enough room. And so what he's doing, he's providing this opportunity for these players, not just to play out here on the gridiron, but when they leave. And the other thing that Mr. Myles has done, he's providing opportunities for people to own a franchise.
Right.
Now, this is one of those times one of those pivotal times in history where something comes along once in a lifetime. 10 years from now, this opportunity is going to be gone, I'm afraid. And once again, many of us want to be left on the sidelines, wondering what happened. Why didn't we jump on this while we had the opportunity? And on top of that, the MFL is about to go across the ocean into Africa. Now, how big is that?
That is phenomenal, man. Come on, man. The world is intimately connected, and Mr. Myles is understanding that and leveraging that. And those that are smart enough to get on the train will have generational wealth created for them, their kids, their grandkids, and beyond, because they take advantage of the door that's open and walk through it.
Mr. Grant, now you as a business owner, and I have my own story, but what have you seen over the years as the differentiator between working for somebody and working for yourself? I know it's like a joke for you.
This morning I got up.
That's a layup, right?
Homeschooling, so I had to, get them in the right train. So I had the opportunity to do that. Then I walked and sat on my porch and had a cup of coffee and smoked me half a Monte Cristo white cigar.
Right.
Then I went and took care of some business and went to the office for about an hour and a half. And then I said, I got to go. Freedom, flexibility. Yes, you are under the gun to do it. Have requirements and everything rests on your shoulders. But the bottom line is there is no better freedom. Besides, nobody has ever paid me what I was worth except myself.
I got it.
Right?
I come in the office.
We have to be the best ones in the room.
That's right.
I've been in many rooms that people are getting paid grand theft money and they don't work boo-boo. And if I saw a person of color in the room, I know they were better than whatever they were position they had. or they were exceptional because that's what it takes for us to be in the room. And it is what it is. But you have to be an entrepreneur. You have to be doing your own thing. You have to take charge of your destiny. I go to Vegas for a week and I spend $100 because I don't gamble on anything but Reginald Grant.
Man.
I gamble on me.
Man, you sound too much like me over there. But you know what I look at?
Baby.
I look at it this way. Business ownership to me is like the great equalizer. There are a lot of ills in society. A lot of bad things can happen, a lot of missed opportunities. Some people say, look, hey, I didn't get to law school. I didn't get to medical school. My dad wasn't rich. But boy, let me tell you something. Ownership is available to everybody.
Right.
You can level all the bad things that have happened to you financially, all the missed opportunities that you missed or didn't get or didn't fall in your lap. A successful business is the equalizer. All those folks that done turned up their nose to you, all these little snots that you done worked for, working with somebody else's kid with less experience and less background you've been working for, all these folks who didn't pay you what you were deserving, you can put them all to shame. You can equalize even the score. Go out here and start you a successful business. And the other thing, Mr. Grant, if you can't start one, then you can go out here and buy one like a franchise. People talk about franchising. I get some people they scoff at the cost of a franchise. Look, oh, it's $100,000, $200,000. What they fail to realize is that you're going to pay that and more over the course of starting your own business. Right. So don't say because
you don't have the guidance, you don't have the support.
That's
right.
You
don't have any of the infrastructure already built. You don't have a system that's designed for you to be successful. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for the guidance to help you on that path to creating wealth and to creating income and to be successful. And of course, Mr. Greenwood, the best revenge for all them people, success is the best revenge.
Man,
right? There's nothing better. Success. Everybody shuts up. They can talk all the stuff. They love me, they hate me, but they must respect my work ethic. And, I paid my mortgage this month. My kids ain't missed a meal. I ain't missed a meal. Life is okay.
And that legacy building. See, I have a daughter, and fortunately for her, she's about to become a lawyer. She just got she one more year out of law school before she gets out of law school. But had she not been that, she would have never had to worry about getting a job. I just hired my nephew. He got a job offer from Amazon.com. They offered him $30,000 in stock, $7,000 relocation fee, a $5,000 signing bonus. He turned it down because he had a different vision. But he still needed to eat. He still needed to pay for his rent. So guess who was able to offer him another opportunity while he pursued his job?
There you go.
His Uncle Robert. But you can't do that if you don't own. You can't do that if you don't have that ownership. That's why we have to beat this ownership drum so that our kids, if you have no other reason, do it for selfish motivation, such as your family, your offspring, building that legacy. You can't, no matter how much Amazon or Microsoft or Google pays you, when you're gone, that job is over. It's over. The train stops right there.
And every business is a pyramid. People don't understand. It's just illegal pyramids. I'm at the top of my pyramid. Everybody else that I'm associated with that works with me or for me, they get paid after I get paid. I take the cream out the top. That's what being in business is all about. Having self-control. I'm in control of my nickel comes in. I can spend my nickel any way I want to spend it. Nobody tells me how. Nobody tells me I have to wait. Electronic transfers of funds. Shoot, I just went to the grocery store. That same little money is available to me because it's mine. There's nothing like yours. And as Billie Holiday said, God bless the child that's got his own.
Got his own. But you know what? This is something else I have to impart upon the audience is that when you are embarking upon becoming a business owner, there is a certain amount of discipline that you have to embrace. And that is, you have to look at what are you spending your money on. You can't go out here and start a business if you're wasting your money on a lot of material assets that don't appreciate. That means you may have to live in a smaller place. You may have to drive a smaller car. You may have to pass on some of those out of town trips. You may not have to get that Louis Vuitton bag. You may have to make some sacrifices as you prepare yourself for building that legacy. So there is a mindset shift that has to happen if you don't have it already when you start talking about building wealth and ownership and legacy. You have to look at the money because what happens, Mr. Grant, is that many people fail to realize that we can live on a lot less than we've been led to believe. There's an old saying that he who has not learned to live upon a little will always be a slave. So one of the things I try to embark upon business owners is that before we go out here and start looking for that wealth, let's discipline ourselves first. Let's realize that the only thing that motivates many of us to go out and stay on these jobs is because you've been saddled with a big fancy car and you live in a lifestyle that's not conducive to building your legacy. So reprogram. Think about, look, this money, I don't need $200,000 a year or $100,000 a year if I discipline myself to live on 50,000 while I build my empire. So there's a financial side of building wealth, but there's also a mental discipline that must go along with it.
Well, you can't be. I live in Hollywood. I live in LA. I live in the land of fantasy. I see somebody that I know drives a $90,000 Humvee.
Hmm.
I drive an old Honda. Now my daughters and my wife have better cars than I do, by far. But when I get done with my car, I get out and get another one. I ain't got no monthly payment.
There
And
you
we
go.
talk about business. Bam! Somebody just paid me. Electronically. I got some money on that card. I can go to the grocery store. It's my money. And yes, it does take the discipline of doing stuff every day. But to get up and go to work every day. Why are you not? I'm so excited in the morning to go to work because I'm working for myself. You see, yeah, I say you got something at 2 in the morning. That's okay. I ain't got to get up. I'll sleep till 10 to 12, whatever it is I want to sleep. Can't nobody tell me, except my bosses. I got 4 of them in the house. What to do? I live with 4 women. So life is an adventure, right? But nobody tells me what to do.
Let me ask you
You
this.
have to have discipline, get up and get the job done. That's all it's all about. Bet on you. That's what it is. That's
Now
what
we
it's all
have this pandemic, and Mr. Myles he's one of the first ones to call off the 2020 season because, of course, he was concerned about the players. I mean, that's the other thing I like about what Mr. Myles is doing. He is a laboratory of change, and one of the things he's been doing, he's been pushing ownership for female ownerships and GMs. Of course, his affinity for making sure the players uh, get their rewards other than playing on the field, but also this pandemic. We've seen some people step up to the plate. Some people that have been leaders as far as protecting people's health, but at the same time understanding that they have to navigate this, not only protect people's health, but we also got to protect people's wealth. There's lives matter, but also livelihoods matter. So it's going to take extreme leadership as we navigate these waters, as Mr. Myles did back in this year when he decided to terminate the season early. But 2021 is coming. So now we need leaders, people who are not afraid to make tough decisions. And I think that once again, the MFL is going to lead the charge and show the rest of the world and the league what leadership looks like. How have you been navigating this pandemic? How have you been doing in this pandemic, Brother Grant?
Me? Oh, come on, man. I'm thriving. I'm busy as all boo. I'm turning people down. I'm scheduling appointments 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks out. I can't take it any more business, right? So but again, I was ready for the shift. I was already in the space, both psychologically and my business was already using and leveraging technology in the way we're going. Things have changed. It's not a change for the bad. It's just a change. It is what it is. That's one thing that is constant in life. Things will change. And what Dr. Myles is offering here with the MFL is, as he says so often, they're a laboratory of change. Ownership is everything. And it doesn't just have to be the players. There's not that many players anyway, right? There's only 1,800 to 2,000 NFL players, only 600 to 800 NBA basketball players. So, but there are thousands, if not millions, of people out there that can get on board, become part of the collective, put their pennies together, and buy a team, and buy an opportunity, buy a franchise, be involved in the process, take advantage of the opportunity. The window's open. Whether you go through it or not, that's your decision. But I suggest that you do, because there is never going to be a situation where we always get a level playing field. We don't need, a handout. We don't need. All we need is somebody to get out the way and let us do our thing to stem systematic racism. I wrote an article that was just published in the International United Methodist Men's Magazine today, and I'll share that with Richard and you guys. The American Dilemma, economic inequity. We don't need a handout. We just need you to get out the way and create perpetrating systems that put roadblocks in our way. That's all. We don't want. That's all you need. This is America. Get out the way and let me do my thing. I had a little tax service. I'll tell you a quick story.
Please.
In Oceanside, California, and I had owned a health club, and I didn't know all the things I needed to know. And so one of our partners, I was in Atlanta, jacked this and stole the money. We had to pivot quickly. So I ended up spending 3 years, 9 months, and 5 days incarcerated in the Marine Corps. And the Marine Corps for a black man like me is like being incarcerated in jail.
I bet.
They didn't want to go and die. They didn't want to go and kill people. I survived and had a good time and went to Japan and all. Whenever I'm at, I take advantage of the opportunity. But I started a tax service in Oceanside, California, right next to Camp Pendleton. And one of my associates goes, "They ain't gonna let no open no tax service in Oceanside across the street from City Hall." And my response was, "I didn't ask for permission." Right? So I could walk across the street and talk to the mayor and the chief of police. They knew who I was, and I had that business for 5 years. And I sold it and went on to my next adventure. But I say that to say, you don't have to ask for permission. Opportunities are here.
Let me tell you.
Other opportunities you talked about, franchising, starting your own business, contacting you and what you do and help you facilitate business development. We're here in the West Coast, we facilitate business development. It's about positioning yourself to win, making the determination to bet on you so that you can provide a legacy, something that's left after you. And as Miss Richard said, I ain't never seen a hearse go down the street following somebody or with a what they call those, a money truck, right? So there's a truck following you when you die. When you die, it's all gone. So to understand, today is cash, the best day of your life. Enjoy it, right? Take advantage of it. Tell somebody you love them. Share some knowledge. Knowledge has no power unless it's shared. Reach out and help somebody else. More importantly, help yourself by being your own boss, by taking the chance to bet on you and your family and creating that legacy of success.
Let me tell you, I have my own tax story. Back in the 80s, I was working for a startup company. We started one of the first home delivery supermarkets in the country called Telegrocery. This was back in the late 80s, and this was way before Peapod and Uber Eats and all of them. We were one of the first ones. We had a big warehouse over in Crystal City, Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C. And I was part of the startup team. I was the technology guy. And but at the same time, Mr. Grant, this tell you how these roads can cross. I was also starting a tax business of my own. And so I went and took the H&R Block classes, and I hired the H&R Block instructor to come work in my company. So he was my head tax preparer. But I was also part of this startup team that I didn't own called Telegrocery. And so I was really running these two tracks parallel. So I had my tax business over here. I had the H&R guy over there doing my taxes on one side of town. And I was in this big telegrocery outfit where we had a 15,000 square foot warehouse over in Crystal City on the other side. But one day the president, I was like one of the three. Well, the president came in one day and said, Robert, I got a problem. I found this business card over here in the bathroom, and it's Gatewood Tax Services. He said, you got to make a decision. Now, of course, I've been trained and I've been under this guise of capitalism and working for people. Now, this would have been a no-brainer for me today. But back then I was young, like in my late 20s. And I sat there and I thought about it. And I was like, man, this guy's offering me this nice salary. I'm over here in Crystal City, Virginia. And then I got this little tax business. I'm over here just starting and struggling. I don't halfway know what I'm doing. But I let my tax business go. Man, you know how many times I've kicked myself over the years? And I'm gonna tell you another, that the rub salt in the wound. One of my number one clients right now to this day, the guy who's been with me the longest, has probably spent the most money on me, is a tax preparation company. This guy owns the building down in Baltimore where his Baltimore office is. He has an office over in Florida Avenue in DC, has another office down in Woodbridge, Virginia. This guy has made millions. And I'm saying to myself, if I had just taken a different path. So anyway, for anybody when you start questioning yourself, when you start putting the others, benefit of others before your own and your own family and your own legacy. Now, I've done well. I had a second chance. I was given a chance that many others didn't get, because I did go on to have a very successful life in corporate America. But at some point, I got to that crossroad again. Second time I made the right choice. I learned. So I'm telling others out here, you can learn from my experience. I'm not saying go out here and quit your job tomorrow. I'm saying use that job as leverage. Use it to learn. Use it to sharpen your skills, to get the tools you need to be successful when you do ultimately make that crossover into the bright side. Because there is going to come a time when you're going to have to make that decision. But don't do it.
The decision often gets made for people.
Sometimes it's made for you. That's exactly right. You're exactly right. Sometimes
you have no control. You are just an employee.
So be preparing yourself.
Nobody can fire you from your stuff.
That's right. So you be preparing yourself, business owners. Be preparing yourself, people who are working in corporate America. And I love my good folks in corporate America because I was there myself. That's where I sharpened my teeth. That's where I sharpened my skills. But I'm saying at some point, either you're going to have to make that transition or you're going to have to support somebody who's trying to make that transition. But you can't be passive in this process. There's too much at stake. Our community, the survival of our community is at stake. And we need every sharp person in this fight as a supporter or as one of the trailblazers out here doing it.
Right. And the biggest thing is with other communities, if you go to the Hispanic community, they hire their own first. If you go to the Asian community, they hire their own first. They do business with their own. Not that they don't do business with mainstream America, but we need to have more businesses in our communities and do business in our communities. Not only do we have an opportunity and a I say a requirement to do that, we owe it to the people that were trailblazers to give us the opportunities. And you look at CJ Walker, she was the first female millionaire, not black female, but period.
Period. That's right.
Right? You don't have to have permission. You just have to have the guts to bet on yourself. Right? And there's a lot of support systems out here. There's a lot of people like Dr. Richard and Mr. Gatewood that provide support systems and have resources to help you understand what you need to do to be successful. And 95% of it is you have to make the effort. And it's okay to have some failures along the way. Failures are part part of the steps to success. You have to figure out how to do it. If you don't, there's no magic bullet. And it's called little work, maybe a lot of work, but you are in charge of your own destiny. That's really, there is no better feeling than being in charge of your own destiny.
But one of the things that Mr. Myles, he's always asking me, and I'm going to ask it for him today. He said, why are people so afraid to take a chance? Because I know that's one of his favorite questions. And it's one we all have to ponder. Yes, there, as you just said, Brother Grant, there is an opportunity that you might fail. But we know failure is a foundational step on that road to success. You ask them all. Johnson, the guy that started Ebony magazines and all the Johnson Publishing, Robert Johnson, all of them would tell you they had to go through that I call that like the rite of passage. My first business was a payphone business, and I didn't understand the whole thing about timing back then. Nobody told me about the industry life cycle, the introduction, the growth, maturity, and decline. I jumped in the payphone business at the maturity stage. I didn't know that the cell phones were going to come out next week, so nobody told me these things, right? That's why I'm glad to help other people avoid those same type of mistakes. But I tell you what, Mr. Grant, that did not deter me. That didn't make me say, "Wow, man, this business thing is not for me." I lost $20,000 in my first time out of the gate. That made me more determined to go out here and get some knowledge, so that doesn't happen again. So mistakes are not for you to wallow in it and say, "Look, to be dissuaded." It means let's double down now. Let's go back and learn a few things. Let's learn from that and build from it and help others avoid that mistake that you made, particularly in our community.
Right. And again, a lot of our people think that it's okay to live on and do things in what I would call the gray area. But again, guys, if you're smart enough to make money in the gray area, you're more than smart enough to take that and put it into the other area. Right? When you look at, again, America is about doing. John F. Kennedy, President Kennedy, his daddy was a rum runner. He was a prohibition breaking, illegal doing, money making individual, but he took that money he made on that side and he found himself, he surrounded himself with some people to help him learn how to transition out of that into where he could keep all of his money because he didn't have to pay lawyers when things went to the left. Right? So again, it's about understanding the unwritten rules of the game. Not all the rules are going to be written down for you, especially us. It's just like I have a story about going to the country club.
Yeah.
At the country club, because I played golf. Before I had kids, I played golf every day. I lived literally at the golf course, right? And that wasn't bad. But they'll have a sign that says dress code enforced. Dress code enforced. If you don't know what the unwritten meaning of that is, you're totally discombobulated, uneasy. Oh, what do they mean? But if you understand what is written between the lines, you can walk up in there with an air of confidence. My bald head walk up in there like, booyah, baby, yes, I belong. So the attendant doesn't know. It might be Johnny Redneck, but all he knows is, I know what the dress code is.
Yep.
When I walk up there, he might be thinking, black bald head. But what he's saying is, hello, sir, how may I help you? Because he doesn't know who I am or what I'm doing. That's what we have to do. Understand the unwritten rules of the game. If you don't know, you help somebody go to a resource and help somebody help you to find out what it's all about. But somebody's willing to reach out and reach down and help you. I guarantee you there's many, many, many people that have had a tremendous amount of success. And that's why we were so excited about last Saturday's event. And Dr. Myles is on the panel. He was on the business of sports panel. The Bob Grant, Richard Jurgen, who's a two-time national champion with Clemson, is now starting the foundation and now navigating the waters of business. Who else is on there? Richard, Bob, Dr. Myles, CJ, who's got a training business here out of the Los Angeles area, and I'm missing. Oh, Dr. Joseph Bryant, who runs the sports sector for Rainbow Push International, and he consults with, Goodell of the NBA and NFL and several of the NBA and players and teams and owners. And so we had a powerhouse group there. But again, it's about taking advantage of the opportunity, learning the unwritten rules of the games and putting yourself in the game. You got to play, right? It's okay. You get knocked down, just get back up. I made money, I lost money, but I'm still, hanging in here, and my kids will eat today.
We want to do a quick shout out to some of the folks in the chat room. Brother Chuck Barlow, one of the MFL members. I see Brother Melvin Forbes. Glad to see you guys online. And Minister Darrell, he says, yes, sacrifice. You got to do that sacrifice. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in online and joining the MFL as we talk about entrepreneurship. We're talking about the MFL. We're talking about the season that's coming up in 2021, where the MFL is going to be going to Africa. We're talking about entrepreneurship and the importance of owning and passing this legacy down. But you got to, let me tell you, I wish I had a magic wand to tell everybody, I said, look, nothing is ever going to go wrong in business, that everything you touch is going to turn to gold. Because he had to laugh at that one. I wish, like our second entertainer said, the wish factor. I just wish that I could say that, but we know that's not true. So what we all have to do as we make these business decisions that's going to be life changing, that's going to affect us for generations to come, do your due diligence. Make sure you've dotted your I's, crossed your T's, done your research. But at some point, you got to take some risk. I'm sure that guy, the one that just became the third richest guy in the world, Elon Musk, out here now, his stock split last month, went 5-1, and the thing is back on the rise again. That guy took some risk. But you don't have to be an Elon Musk. You don't even have to be a Richard Myles. You have to be yourself. You have to go out here and say, look, I've done my homework. I'm not going to waste all my money on this foolishness. I'm going to put my money in something that's going to guarantee me some money for years to come. I use the example of people go out here and buy these big cars. And I'm not even against people buying big cars, because I had one myself at one time. I don't do that anymore.
More than one, but go ahead.
But my point is, if you got to buy one, let's put it in the right order. If you get that business first and then use the money from that business and then go buy your car, you got to have it. But if you buy the car first, you're not going to be able to get the business. It's like buying the eggs without buying the chicken. You buy the chicken, let the chicken lay the golden eggs. So that's my way. That's my approach to business. And I've seen many people come to my office. Some have been they come in the door with the wrong idea. Say, look, I want to start this business because I saw this nice car I want to get. I'm like, let's start it. Go out the door and come back in.
Find a problem, provide a solution, get paid some dollars.
There you go. There you go. It's about problem solving. It's about finding solutions, satisfying needs and wants. And you got to align yourself to the right place, people. One of my secret sauces of marketing. That's why I'm glad Mr. Myles, Dr. Myles, have people like you around him, Mr. Grant, is that one of those secret sauces of marketing has always been aligning yourself with the right people. We call them stakeholders. They're your clients, your vendor suppliers, partners, joint venturers, funders, staff contractors, and so forth. You need those people as much, if not more so, than just going out here trying to acquire customers. Because you get the right stakeholders around you, you will get the customers. Right. You will get the customers if you get the right people, if you get the right partners, you get the right other stakeholders involved. So those are some of the foundational things, and I'm always beating that drum. And so that's why, once again, I'm glad to see Dr. Myles doing well. I'm glad, looking forward to 2021. But we got some like they say down south, we got a few roads to hoe to get to 21. So we're busy now building these relationships, these partnerships, and getting people like you on board, Mr. Grant. Because I'm telling you, man, you are a walking encyclopedia, I can tell.
I'm just a worker, big brother. I just, do a little something every day. I'm just a black man in America. Whether I got a Polo one or going to the country club, or I'm driving down the street in LA and don't want to get stopped. I just want to be in charge of as much as I can and let that stuff go that I'm not in charge and put myself in a position to win and for my kids and family to be okay. So again, I'm Reginald Grant. You can visit me at reginaldgrant.com. You can go to the Los Angeles Black Business Expo, the website, 21LABBE.com. And again, our next event is November 27th. Buy black on Black Friday with Los Angeles Black Business Expo. And again, I appreciate you, Dr. Richard, for letting me come on board and talk crazy. But Mr. Gatewood, pleasure's all mine. Shoot me an email. We need or your phone number. We'll connect the dots. I need to have a couple conversations with you so we can add some value to each other's life.
I totally agree. And I thank again Dr. Myles for this platform and for all the things he's doing for the MFL. Brother Grant, it's been a tremendous pleasure to meet you. I mean, it's like we're brothers from a different mother. That's what I'm feeling right. Hey, you mentioned golf. I was sitting in the office the other day. I'm up there here with work, and I'm stressed out. And so I went on Amazon Prime and ordered this little indoor golf putt thing. I'm not a golfer. Man, that thing, man, I'm hitting hole in ones all day.
So you addicted. You addicted.
Man, I'm ready to get on the greens now.
Come on, man. I'm ready. I'm here.
One more thing we got in common now.
What's at the golf clubs in my garage is all collected dust.
All right. Well, you can find out more about me. We have the Marketing Pulpit radio and TV show every Friday at 10:30 a.m. We're on Facebook Live. We're on YouTube Live. We're on Twitter Live. But you can go to marketingpulpit.com, get all of the options, look at all the past shows. Mr. Myles has been a regular on the show. I've had many of the people from the MFL on the show. And also, I'm here on the MFL show every Wednesday at 5 o'clock. And so this has been a great show. I want to thank again everybody for tuning in, everybody who's tuning in online, everybody who's been putting their comments in the feed. Thank you again, and looking forward to the next time. And Mr. Myles will also be back on Friday at Inside the MFL. And go to MFL is here. You can find out more about the schedule, see the great staff, people like Mr. Ford and Joyce Harris and Kelsey and Garnett and Fred Smoot and a whole lot of them. You can find all the information on the MFLishere.com. Great organization. And folks, find out, like Mr. Myles always say, you got to experience it. You got to experience the MFL.
Mr. Myles, Thank you so much, audience. Have a great day.
Going to turn the knob back over to you, Mr. Myles. Thanks again.